Hey everyone, Vikram here. Today we're looking at something that's been flying under the radar, but it's actually massive for the market. Michael Burry is making a comeback to GameStop analysis, and the timing tells you everything. This is not speculation, this is a calculated move. Let's break it down. First, let me be crystal clear about what's happening here. Michael Burry, the guy who called the 2008 financial crisis, the person who predicted the subprime collapse when nobody else was talking about it, he's coming back to GameStop with prepared research, and he's given a specific timeline, January 2026. That's the end game. That's when his full analysis will be released. Now, you might be wondering why this matters. Why should we care when Michael Burry publishes research? The answer is simple. Michael Burry almost never speaks clearly in public. He posts, he deletes, he disappears. He's intentionally vague. He deliberately stays in the shadows. So, when he's asked directly whether his analysis will be finished and released by the end of January, and his answer is just one word, definitely, that's not casual conversation. For someone like Burry, that's a contract, that's a commitment. All uncertainty about timing is gone. Now, here's where the timing becomes really strategic. Originally, this report was expected in December 2025. It slipped, but that slip turned out to be strategic gold. Why? Because January 2026 marks the 5-year anniversary of the original GameStop squeeze. Think about what that means. This isn't just research timing anymore, it's symbolic timing, an anniversary, a narrative reset, and it guarantees a media explosion. You're going to have retail attention, institutional attention. Everyone is watching again. The timing is too perfect to be accidental. But here's where this gets personal, and that's important. Michael Burry is not operating in a vacuum. According to sources, he is actively pushing back against mainstream financial media, specifically the Wall Street Journal. Burry believes the media has been working to discredit his legacy, framing his past calls as either lucky or ultimately wrong. And here's the key thing, he didn't stay quiet about it, he responded publicly, aggressively. When someone like Burry, someone who prefers silence, comes out swinging like that, it tells you everything about his mindset. This is personal for him, and an angry Michael Burry is dangerous. Think about his track record. Michael Burry, at his calmest, already changed financial history once. An angry Burry, that's someone with something to prove. Sources describe this upcoming report as no holds barred, direct, and designed to demolish the narrative that GameStop is a joke. This isn't just about valuation, this is a counterattack. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. Michael Burry was early on GameStop, too early. He saw value in 2020. He exited before the real squeeze. He's admitted that publicly, and investors like him do not forget mistakes like that. This isn't just about being right, this is about not being wrong twice. That redemption arc is huge, and it's what drives this report. So let's talk about the actual thesis here. Burry's report boils down to one fundamental question: is GameStop a melting ice cube, or is it a hidden rocket? Let's break both sides down, because this is where the analysis gets interesting. The bear case is straightforward, the melting ice cube narrative. Yes, GameStop has cash, but physical retail is shrinking, the core business is declining, cash slowly gets burnt, eventually value evaporates. That's the short thesis, and it depends on exactly one thing: the company running out of money. But here's the problem with that thesis: GameStop is sitting on billions in cash and almost no long term debt. That combination matters. A company with massive cash and minimal debt does not go bankrupt easily. In fact, GameStop's cash position represents a huge percentage of its market cap. That's not weakness, that's a fortress. Now, cash alone isn't enough to make Burry bullish. So, what's the wild card? The report is expected to seriously analyze the possibility of GameStop adding Bitcoin to its balance sheet. Yes, that playbook, the one popularized by MicroStrategy. And here's why that would change everything. This would not be a small allocation, this would be a strategic transformation. GameStop would no longer just be a retailer, it would become an inflation hedge, a crypto proxy, a treasury driven equity, a stock that gives exposure to crypto without directly owning crypto. And that changes the investor base overnight. Old valuation models stop working. But here's the real weapon: Ryan Cohen's optionality, that massive cash pile. It's not just defense, it's ammunition. Cohen has options: aggressive stock buybacks, acquiring tech or logistics companies, pivoting into Web3 infrastructure, building blockchain based systems, all without begging Wall Street for capital. And here's what the market is missing: the option value alone is being completely ignored by the market. That's part of Burry's argument. When you have billions in cash and no debt, the potential moves you can make are worth something. The market doesn't price that in. Let's talk about why January 2026 is tactical. This timing isn't random. Early January is when funds close the previous year, portfolios are rebalanced, new capital allocations are decided. A bombshell report from Michael Burry landing right then, it cannot be ignored. It's going to land right when institutions are making their big moves for the year. And here's the psychology angle that's really important. For 5 years, fund managers couldn't touch GameStop. It was labeled a meme stock, career risk. Board won't approve it. That's been the institutional wall. But if Michael Burry publishes a serious value thesis, everything changes. Suddenly, buying is defensible. Ignoring it becomes risky. It's not about belief, it's about permission. Institutions need an intellectual cover to buy something that's been dismissed as a meme stock. Burry's credibility gives them that cover. That's how stigma dies. And that's how liquidity floods in. GameStop moves from a stock institutions can't touch to a stock they are forced to research. That's a massive narrative shift. Let me walk you through what this actually means for the stock price. The bear case depends entirely on GameStop burning through cash and going bankrupt, but a fortress balance sheet breaks that thesis. You have to start asking different questions. What if GameStop doesn't just survive but transforms? What if the cash position becomes the foundation for a completely different business model? What if Ryan Cohen makes strategic moves that completely change the risk reward profile? That's what Burry's report is likely going to explore, and that's what the market is underpricing right now. Here's my take on what matters most. This is not about a squeeze, this is not about memes, this is about three things. One, a fortress balance sheet that prevents bankruptcy. Two, strategic optionality that the market isn't pricing in. Three, a credible voice forcing a re-evaluation of the entire narrative. Michael Burry has unfinished business with GameStop, and if the cash holds, if the crypto strategy is real, then the short thesis collapses completely. January 2026 is not just a date, it's the potential end of a 5 year war over a narrative. And when Michael Burry speaks on GameStop again, the entire market will be listening. So here's what I'm watching for. When that report drops, pay attention to how institutions react, pay attention to whether the stigma around the stock shifts, pay attention to whether portfolio managers suddenly start asking different questions. Because Michael Burry doesn't waste his credibility on nothing. If he's coming back to GameStop with a serious report, he's confident in the thesis, and that confidence is exactly the kind of catalyst that moves markets. Thanks for watching. Vikram here. See you in the next one.